Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm so excited to share another one of these cold case games. And this company, Cold Case Crackers, actually reached out to me and wanted to send me a game to do here on my channel. So thank you to them for sending me a case to do. I'm so excited to try this out and we're gonna get started. As always, I'm just gonna open it up and share what's inside and then, go into detail of what information is given. This is the ADDENBERG train bomber case. And it says, can you prevent the next bombing? Case number B25-14. On the back, it just says, become a cold case detective, examine all the evidence, move through 4 phases of the investigation, verify your detective work online, and then crack the case open. Just some information about what's going to be happening. Someone detonated an explosive on a passenger train outside the city of ADDENBERG. The explosion left 5 people dead and another 8 wounded. The bomber was never found and the case went cold. The same bomber sent a threatening letter to police and another attack is looming. There's 5 suspects and there's over 40 pieces of evidence included in here. Got some folders in here. Oh, this is nice. Presentation, I have to say, is really nice. I like this little sticker sort of thing that we have here. We have 2 folders. One is rules and gameplay, and then we have the evidence folder. So I'm gonna go through the rules and gameplay, I guess the directions, a picture of the train after the explosion went off, and then some little envelopes here. Just the same thing that was on the back, talking about what had happened. There's 5 suspects, like I said. There's Thomas, the blogger, Karen, the conductor, Tyler, the lieutenant, Ed, the political activist, and Robert, the rail yard worker. All 5 of these original suspects cooperated with investigators and provided statements and fingerprints. Given the lack of evidence from the bombing, the case has gone cold. The unknown subject responsible has escaped justice. A year and a half later, police managed to find an online server that's confirmed to have been used by the bomber. The forensic and technology departments have tried to gain access but were unable to crack into it. The head detective is confident that the files contained on the server are directly from the unknown subject. Access to the server can be found at this Cold Case Crackers link. The bomber had originally sent a threatening letter to police, and an alarming movement in the case came 2 days ago on January 17th when a second letter showed up. Investigators were able to confirm a link between the letters and authenticated the second letter to be from the ADDENBERG bomber. It mentioned an attack that will happen in 7 days. With only 5 days left, the head detective has enlisted help. Once your investigation team is ready, visit the link to hear from the case's original detective. Good luck. Sometimes relevant evidence can hide in plain sight. Some evidence can only be accessed online. There's a tip line, which is just another link if you get stuck with anything. You get 4 of these envelopes. There's phase 1 through 4. And we can open this one now, open after reading rules and gameplay. The rest, you have to wait until you complete the other phases. Phase 1, using the statements of the individuals on the train the day of the bombing, detectives have determined that there's a key witness that left the train prior to the detonation. They could hold information that will aid in the investigation. Which 2 artifacts identify the key witness? Use the artifacts list below and follow the instructions to see if you have chosen correctly. Each list item has been assigned a 2-digit code. So once you figure this out, then you go online to verify the code. This is one of the letters here from the person. You still don't get it in 5 days, I will finish what I started, is what that says. This little sheet that is the ADDENBERG SWAT bomb defusal guide. What you're supposed to do, I guess, to defuse it. Morning service to ADDENBERG University. The trains. Just the schedule of them. Now that is what was in the phase 1 folder. I'm going to move over to the evidence. We have a whole lot of stuff. This first sheet is the police incident report that is paper clipped in here. This happened on June 22nd, 2003. Train tracks near Ruby Road, H line. Nature of the incident: I was called to the scene of an explosion aboard a train traveling west near Ruby Road. Further action needed, yes. Follow up with Antioch Railways to get a list of passengers and employees on board. Federal authorities on scene collected forensic evidence and report back to the ADDENBERG Department of Forensics and Technology. There's been 4 reported dead and at least 6 others injured. This is unofficial as we need the passenger manifest in order to account for all persons. 5 witnesses who gave statements to the police on the scene and potentially others that need to be identified and questioned. Form was authorized by Detective Mike Crenshaw. And then we have pictures of the suspects. So first is Ed, the political activist here. We have Thomas, the blogger. Tyler, the lieutenant. Karen, the conductor. And Robert, the rail yard worker. I have this little newspaper article here. O'Connell concedes race to Whitby. Despite calling for a third recount, mayoral hopeful Jonathan O'Connell has conceded. In his speech, he thanks the people of ADDENBERG for their participation and urges them to continue advocating for his core campaign values. His 7-minute concession speech has garnered mixed responses from supporters. Others, however, have not taken his concession in such stride. Outspoken activist Ed, this guy, took to the streets, stopping just short of protesting his words, "We shall stop at nothing to keep Whitby from poisoning our streets, hearts, and minds with retrogressive policies." Though his stance has been decidedly anti-Whitby as opposed to pro-O'Connell, he's not alone. On the back, ads for Retro Rec Room. It's a gaming subscription box and artist spotlight, Ian Horwitz. A lot of the time with these newspaper articles, like there's some random little detail, but so far I don't really see anything. Another newspaper article, train derailment investigation ends amid backlash. City and state police ruled out any foul play regarding the derailment on May the 7th. Penny Lipton, the press liaison, I think is how we commented earlier this week, "We have no reason to believe that this derailment was anything more than a tragic accident. We will continue to assist Antioch, I don't know, and the Department of Transportation. The exact cause of the crash is still unknown at this time. However, there have been many theories shared on local news. They have announced we have closed the case of last week's deadly incident and officially deem it as unpredictable failure of machinery." Then on the back, detective breaks up dogfighting ring. So that was just what was kind of on the back there. We have the passenger manifest, which is the people that were on board. The conductor, originally it says Karen Cole, but it's crossed out and it says Timothy Nye. Some voluntary witness statements here. So first, their name is Cash. They claim to be an eyewitness and a train passenger, but their name, unless they were unknown, isn't on here. "I was in the front car, thank God, it was so horrible." When asked about the key witness, "Yes, I know who you're talking about. They had on glasses. I remember commenting on them. They had on a red shirt, or maybe the shirt was black. I'm not sure." Next is Robin. "I heard a loud boom and felt a huge shake. It felt like an earthquake, a big one. People were running. It was crazy." When asked about the key witness, "The lady who got off at Willow, I don't have a very good visual memory." Next, we have Becca Humphrey. "It was the scariest thing ever. The whole train shook and I heard a huge bang. I had no idea what was going on." When asked about the key witness, "They got off at Willow. Oh yeah, they had dark blue jeans and light skin tone." We have Haley. "It was really scary. When the train exploded, I was like 2 cars away, but it felt like it was right next to me." When asked about the key witness, "I don't remember anyone getting off. I do remember someone getting on at King's Memorial, but maybe that's not who you're looking for." Zach. "It was all a blur to me, really. I saw a huge red flash and then heard a bang." When asked about the witness, "Yeah, I remember. They had on red shoes and they were a little bit on the older side, like maybe 60 to 65. So we have another one of these little things. "It's coming. 7 days will bring truth." I love when they give us a map. I need to look on Google and see how to pronounce this so I stop pronouncing it wrong. Antioch train map. It just shows all the different roads and trains available. Passenger photo lineup, which is cool. We got like all these random people. And this matches, letters and numbers here match the seat number. So you can see who's who. The 5 suspects profile forms here. So first is Thomas. Again, they have the address, so possibly that could help with looking at the map. His occupation is a social media influencer. I think this is a blogger, I'm assuming. There's Karen. She's been working for the railways for 8 years. Tyler is a security guard at Marston Security, which could be beneficial because I feel like security people know things, like, I don't know, maybe something to do with a bomb. He had some prior arrests for DUIs. Ed's a manager for Democracy Always. He was arrested for public intoxication and assault, but the charges were dropped on the assault. Robert works for the railways for 8 years. He was arrested for petty larceny and disorderly conduct. Nothing too much, I don't think, on here. We'll come back to that. Official interviews with all of the suspects. I'm just going to briefly go over. This is an interview with Ed and Detective Crenshaw. He has a few questions for him, and Ed says, "What do I have to do with any of that?" Sometimes you do not just support candidates, but you go after ones you don't like. Is that right? "We support good policies. Some politicians don't care about the people, and I'm not going to apologize for getting them out of office." What are you getting at? You tell me I have an explosion that killed 5 people, including the mayor's son and a guy who has continually threatened Mayor Whitby on several occasions. Is it true that you said in a conference Whitby is destroying the city and he and his family need to pay for their suffering they're causing? I have it here that you said Chandler Whitby equates to evil for the people and there's only one way to fight evil. Where were you the day of the bombing? I don't remember. At work. Me or my people had nothing to do with any of this. I figured. I also hope you don't mind if we look in your offices and home. It's a tragedy what happened, and I will help the investigation, but you cannot look through my house or my office without a warrant. Which is fair enough. We're working on that. Let me just say this. Do not leave the state anytime soon. Tyler showed up for questioning but refused to talk to detectives. He was represented by a lawyer who answered all questions on his behalf. It's interesting to me that Mr. Vaughn, which is Tyler, felt the need to bring a lawyer if he has nothing to hide. My client has nothing to hide. I know he has a past. It doesn't look great, but the past is the past. I asked around to find out about anyone close to here that would know anything about explosives. You were on almost every list I received. My client does not deny being an expert in bomb making. He worked for the military for many years in that field. Turns out you were a lieutenant in the military until you were dishonorably discharged. It says you had problems with your anger and had little to no respect for authority. It seems to me that your client is an angry man who is also a bomb expert. Where was your client the day of the bombing and the day before? He was at work during the day. I'm sure we can get a coworker to vouch for that. Can someone vouch for his whereabouts during the evening hours? Are you going to bring in every bomb expert and ask them every hour of their day? He sleeps at night, detective, and without a specific time frame or a better reason, that's the best we can do. Did your client have any knowledge of the bombing, or does he know of anyone that would do such a thing? If my client knew anything, he would come forward, and he has no obligation to tell you about his bomb unit buddies, so you can harass them too. Pretty much the end of that conversation. Karen, would you say you've been a good employee for the railways? Yes, I would. Why am I here? You have been such a good employee that you have not missed a single day of work in 8 years, except for June 22nd. Is it true, Mrs. Cole, that you were supposed to be the conductor on that train? Yes, I suppose I was. I had some personal things to do that day. If that's not luck to take off a day of work when a bomb is about to go off, Karen's looking kind of suspicious. Personal things, you went 8 years without missing a day of work. Over 1,000 times you conducted without personal things getting in the way. Have you ever had any conflicts with the railways? Well, you ask about why you wanted to do it, and you have strongly opposed the railways since the accidental derailment a year ago. You're wasting your time with me. You were supposed to be the conductor of a train that exploded, but you had to change shifts for the first time in 8 years. Combine that with the fact you have recently shown great distaste for the same rail company. She says she's a good employee and a caring citizen. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck. Next, we have Thomas. Thomas says, what do you want? My team is leading the investigation. On our preliminary search, you and your blog post came up. He's angry, down with the government, people must pay blogs, end of the world type of stuff. Freedom of speech, I think it's called, we still have that. So I guess he pulls up one post. This one here has the title, This City Needs Change No Matter the Cost. Some of your followers took these words quite seriously. They went on to even discuss explosions. Some people can only learn through pain. What do you say about that? He says we talk about everything on his blogs. It's clear to me you think this city and state need change. You and those who post on your blog talk about times, targets, and even ways they would make that happen. It's practically a list of confessions. We're going to keep a close eye on you. Get out of here. And lastly, we have Robert. You worked the rail yard the train left from that morning, correct? Yes, I do. You were the only employee on the yard for about a 2-hour gap that morning and the only one who was ever alone in the yard. We are short-staffed sometimes, but that's about it. I did not see anyone while I was there. He said he's concerned with him. You also seem to have written many letters to your employer with some not-so-friendly language. What are we to make of that? He's been very unhappy with how they operated and needed to make himself heard. So you had nothing to do with the attack. You have no knowledge of the bomb that killed 5 people. Why would I want to do that? You had access to all the gates and plenty of time to get anything on that train. You had the knowledge of the train schedules and knew exactly when your coworkers would be there. He just says that he has the wrong person. Some blog posts. This one is from Living Free 78. We need to resist, we need to fight, show government what we're made of. Basically, they're just saying we will get physical if we need to and we will not apologize. The world needs to be woken up. Anonymous Greg, finally someone with a backbone. We need to stand up and fight for our right. President Paul, I've worked all my life at City Hall and have seen so much corruption come through, no more. Time Machine Girl threatened Paul, lock her up, LOL. The title of this one is, It's About Time We Have Some Change in This World, No Matter the Cost. One person responded, people never take you seriously unless you're a threat. Maybe we need to be a threat. Mad for Change says, I live outside Edston, New York, and big companies seem to own everything. I plan to go to the state capitol and let them know about the people that they're hurting and all over my city. Time Machine Girl 209 says, you have the right idea. I would join you, but I live all the way in ADDENBERG. This one person, Marcus, I'm looking for the blogs on becoming a cashier. Does anyone know where those are? And then people are saying, what? Marcus responds, because you guys, the title of the blog room was Making Change. That's funny. Again, another one, the title is All Real Change is Made Through Tragedy. Some people can only learn through pain. Lieutenant Wills, I've worked for Marston Private Security for years and I've seen a lot of change happen through bad stuff. That's the guy from earlier who's working for the security. Justice Please says, well, I hope some of that change comes quickly because I'm ready for it to come. The lieutenant responds, I have a feeling it is coming soon. And then he says, I would stop taking the trains for a few days. So this guy knew that something was going to happen, the lieutenant. Tyler right now is looking a little sketchy. Does anyone know what time the rally at the Capitol is tomorrow? BTW, that is how you can make real change. Lastly, we just have another newspaper article talking about the bombing. Sunday night around 6:30 p.m., a train traveling through ADDENBERG exploded in a massive blast. Traveling west and was only 30 minutes from its last stop of the evening. First responders arrived just minutes after the explosion to find debris and mangled metal scattered hundreds of yards away. Fire chief on the scene reported that the explosion is believed to have been caused by a device. It was indeed an attack on innocent civilians without logic or reason. The bomb was believed to be located on the train itself and not on or near the tracks. Evidence on the scene shows that the bomb was located near the 6th or 7th car of the train. Blast was so severe that track vibrations were noticed over 5 miles away. It's not known if the device triggered remotely or by a timing device. And one of the victims of the explosion has been announced and is none other than Travis Whitby, the only son of Chandler Whitby, the mayor. In the past 24 hours, there have been no attempt by any person or group to take credit for the attack. Theories continue to mount this morning, spanning from national terrorism to targeted attacks. And then on the back, it's just talking about Liberty Island reopening and city council meetings scheduled to discuss new power plant. Hold on a second. I was just briefly going over this, and I see here again that the one suspect, Ed, is mentioned for this power plant thing. A major critic of building the plant was local citizen Ed. He led a major protest earlier in the week to send a message to the city that building the plant was not what the citizens want. So my guy just hates everyone in the city pretty much. To be honest, I don't think it's Ed. I feel like he's too angry and like well known that it would be too obvious for it to be him. But that is everything that's included in that evidence folder. I'm going to go online and see what they have on there. Find 2 artifacts that identify the key witness, what they were describing in the official statement by these people. But it said to go online and look at evidence also on there, so I'm going to do that now. The media server access, I'm not really sure. You have to get a username and password. I was trying a couple usernames from the blog, but I'm going to come back to that because I don't really know and I don't want to spend too much time trying to figure that out. We're trying to find the witness. The one person is saying that it's a lady, and then the other ones are saying that they're not really describing like what they look like, if it's a man or a woman. With having glasses and being light skinned, it could be this lady down here, which is Carol. But if it's a light-skinned man, then it could be this guy here, TO34, John, this one, 29, Janet. They got off at Willow. We don't know where they live though. Dark blue jeans, we can't see what they're wearing on the bottoms. Red or black shirt. But we don't know when these pictures were taken, so they're most likely not wearing what they were wearing. This one says they're 60 to 65. I mean, she don't look 60 to 65, maybe like 55. She don't look too old. Let's see if it's Carol. I was right, it's Carol. It says success, you can move on to phase 2. Inside here we have ADDENBERG Court. Detective Crenshaw, your request for 5 search warrants in regards to the train bombing have been denied. At this time, the courts have found insufficient evidence to grant warrants for the homes of the suspects. If more evidence comes to light, please reapply using warrant reference number. This is the official interview transcript with Carol. Mrs. Woolridge, thank you for coming in. We have no time to spare and really need to speak with you. How can I help? You were on the train that exploded in 2003, correct? Yes, but I got off a few stops before it happened. Yes, we know. Other passengers identified you as having gotten off the train and we need to interview you. Your seat was close to the baggage car where the bomb was stored. Did you know that? Oh my gosh, I guess it was. Was someone trying to kill me? We do not believe so. According to our information, you were on the train for most of the day before you got off. Yes, I was coming back from my daughter's place. She lives outside of town. All that time you were sitting there, do you remember seeing or hearing anything come from that car? I'm not sure. It was a long... Oh no, I didn't even think about it until now. Oh my gosh, yes, I heard people. people, more than one person. Well, it was just one voice, but he was talking to someone, probably on a phone, I assume. I remember him asking a lot of questions. Can you remember exactly what he was talking about? No, I wish I could. He just seemed stressed and needed help with something and was talking to someone. That's all that was said there. You have identified Carol as the key witness. After police spoke with her, they are convinced the bomber had helped. Detectives were able to determine that this accomplice had knowledge of the bombing prior to the explosion. Which two artifacts reveal the identity of the accomplice and allow a search warrant to be obtained? It could be like the lieutenant, which is... like, why can't I remember that guy's name? Tyler? Yeah, that would make sense. One knows how to do the bomb, and then someone has to get them access to the train that knows the train. I went on, and they do have, if you need a hint, you can access the tip line. So I went on there, and it was a random... one of the people on the blog, Time Machine Girl 209. She was talking, and she said something about the blog post. So, going back to earlier when I was talking about the person that works for the security, which is Tyler, he told Justice Please to stop taking the trains because he obviously knew something was going to happen. It's blog post 3, and I'm going to do Tyler, and that was correct. We need a warrant number, so I'm going to go back on there and then see where it leads me to. But you just had to put in the number that was on that paper from the court, the reference number, and now it says you can move on to phase 3. I really don't like to use the tips because I feel like it kind of spoils the game. There's a tip line for a reason in real life too. Train schedules again here. Bomb setup maybe? I'm not really sure what this is. We have another witness statement from Wilma. Witness connection to the scene is neighbor next door. I know Tyler really well. He cuts my grass sometimes. I know he used to do a lot with bombs. But he isn't the type to hurt anyone. Probably just needed the money, don't we all? This is the bomb wiring diagram. Phase 3. You obtained the search warrant for Tyler's house and police carried it out. After speaking with him, police believe he was only an accessory to the bombing but has vital information about the identity. Police have uploaded the audio of their interview with him. You can access it. So back on the computer. Which two artifacts reveal the motive of the bomber? Who is the one suspect? I'm gonna go online and listen to this interview that they had with Tyler. There was like 8 clips, 5 clips or something, just like 10 seconds long of the questions that they were asking Tyler. And basically, just to sum up what he was saying, he never met this person. He did say it was a guy, so Karen is, I'm gonna check her off the list as of now. He also claims that he never met them and they only talked online, and his username was Future Man or something like that. So he said that he never met them. He doesn't know why. He was just telling him things that he knew of making bombs because he did that in the military. But he's acting like he didn't know like what his intentions were. Like, what do you think this guy's gonna do with a bomb? Tyler is out. Karen is out because Tyler is the accessory or whatever he wants to call himself. Karen's out because she's a female. So we have Robert, Ed, and Thomas. Who do y'all think? I feel like Ed, he's just too angry at everyone that I could see his motive for wanting to do it. Thomas has like his blog. I would think if you're gonna do something, you wouldn't be putting it out there for people to know and have proof of it online. Robert, I feel like we haven't really heard too much about him. We just know that he works for the rail yard. We need the motive and the suspect. So there's 2 artifacts that reveal the motive. I feel like there's something significant about the train schedules, but I'm not sure. Like, what am I missing? This statement I don't think we really need anymore because it's talking about Tyler. I'm gonna put some stuff away here. The passengers. These aren't even like an option to use to verify. I'm gonna go back through the newspaper articles and the interviews. These are the only things that could be sharing the motive. A lot of this kind of points to Ed. The interview with Thomas really wasn't too much like information. It was just talking about his blog. Tyler said that he only talked with the guy online, the blog, and his name was like Future Man or something. That media server I was saying I couldn't figure out the username. I was trying like different ones from the blog, but none of those were working. So just a little spoiler, if you are playing this on your own, username was stated online when in the interview with the police, where Tyler says how he was contacting with the guy. He says his username, and then the password is like when the Statue of Liberty was created or made, like 1875. That leads to the media servers, which it gave us who the person was, which I wasn't expecting already. I mean, I thought you still had to find the motive, and then that led to the suspect. But it ended up leading to Robert, and there was like a whole paragraph. His wife, in this train derailment thing that had happened, there was victims Samantha, Rebecca, and Megan, friends that were traveling together. each of whom was married, and together their husbands will celebrate the lives of their late wives. Robert was married to Megan, so that winded up being the motive, was his wife. The two artifacts that revealed the motive was this newspaper article and then the server documents, and then he was the suspect. We can move on to the last phase, which is phase 4. Again, another train schedule here. There had to be something significant about these. This is an interview with Robert, with the detective. He says, "The wrong person, we have the wrong person, you said. What do you have to say for yourself, Robert? Do you know why yet?" Detective says, "Your wife, you killed all those people for your wife." Robert says, "They ended that investigation in 7 days. 7 days was all the time they spent. Everyone needs to see and feel what I felt so this never happens again. Everyone will finally get it after today. They will see. Robert, you do not need to hurt any more people. Tell me where the new bomb is." Oh, I forgot we have to figure out that bomb. So Robert's just silent. "You can make this right. What train is it on? Tell us. Good luck." Detective says, "Oh, we're going to find it and stop this mission you think you're on. Then you're going to answer for all the pain you've caused. You can believe that. Get him out of here." So there's a bonus phase that we open after we complete this one. Alright, congratulations. You have identified the ADDENBERG train bomber as Robert. Police arrested him and brought him in for questioning. They quickly realized that there is still an active bomb threat on a train. You'll need to identify what train the bomb's on. Which 4-digit number corresponds to the train that the bomb is on? Use the 4-digit numbers below and follow the instructions to see if you have chosen carefully. The schedules have finally been significant. The train numbers are all here. So I'm going to get all of these little schedules together. I think there was a time or like a day that he had or something designated for it. So I'm going to try to find all those things again now. I know somewhere it said, but I think it was the bomb time. After going back through all these newspaper articles and going back through the audio files of the interview with Tyler, he mentioned that the bomber told him that he's going to set it off at 9:15. I have to figure out what train is going at 9:15. So there's a couple. I'm going to get a piece of paper and just write down the possibilities of which train it could be. So then that way we can do like process of elimination. 11 trains, I wrote them down that it could be. Go and try to see like on the map where the drop off and like the street is, the station. I knew that it was the H line or the H train. So I was going off of this dark orange color, and it was the train tracks near Ruby Road, which is where he designated the first bomb. So I went on the schedule for Ruby Road that's included, which is this is the only one. There's 4 trains then, so we went from, what did I say, 11? I have 6189, 1776, 1571, and 2229. I figured most likely it would start off right before Ruby, unless Robert got on the train at Ruby Road and then put it on. I figured he probably did it before the train took off because it's most likely easier to do that and less noticeable. So the train that would be the first one that starts is at Cardinal Plaza, which is 6189. Thankfully that was correct, and so now we can move on. It said our job is not done yet, so we have this bonus phase. What is this? Got some little things here. Okay, you have oh, do we have to defuse the bomb? You have identified the train that the bomb is on. Your team is boarded. Now you must defuse the bomb before it explodes. To defuse, arrange the wiring fragments to complete the bomb wiring diagram. Choose the wires to cut in the proper order. Hurry before it's too late. What 5 letters correspond to the 5 wires that need to be cut? Order of the letter matters. Use the list below and follow the instructions to see if you have chosen the correct order of the wires to cut, and then you have to verify it. We also have some pictures. Now I'm part of the bomb squad. Not only am I a detective, I'm also a bomb diffuser. So we got 4 little things with some, I guess these are the wires. I'll be back. This is definitely going to take a while. Now, I'll be honest, I cannot figure out this diagram. So I'm not a bomb diffuser, unfortunately. If you've played this and you figured it out, or if you somehow can figure it out, then feel free to comment. I did go on the website with the tip line for like a hint, and it said to use the manual of the bomb, like the type of it, but it don't really make sense to me because it says to cut the coil and then the battery. We're dealing with colors, so I don't really understand that. Maybe I just am not getting it. This was only a bonus part. We did figure out who the bomber was, so that was the main objective of the game. And I really like this. This was fun. I love doing these cases so much. And I will put in my description a link if you guys want to purchase it for yourself. I'm pretty sure you can purchase it off of Amazon, so I'll have that down below. And once again, thank you so much to Cold Case Crackers for reaching out to me and sending me this game. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.